What's up, disc golfers? Joe here with Joe's Disc Golf, and I've got a lot to talk about today, including the DGPT All-Star Weekend, the new world rankings according to the PDGA, and some fun stuff with Kastaplast and Latitude 64. But before I get into that, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Log. What rolls downstairs, a loner in pairs rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack and it fits on your back? It's Log, Log, Log. Log from Blammo. Now, I don't know about you disc golfers, but I have not really got out to play all that much recently. However, I did get out this past weekend and it was terrible. That's about all I got to say about that. The course that I went to, the Mastodon course, PFW, played the Blacks. Well, I tried to play the Blacks, but it involved a lot of standstills because the tee pads were solid ice, except for like a little section about the size of your foot, maybe a little bit bigger at the end of the tee pad towards the front. So I did a lot of standstills. My releases were off. My backhands were trash. My forehands were trash. My putting actually wasn't too bad when I wasn't worried about falling on my face. I've been practicing a lot of my putting recently, and things have been going a lot better with it. However, when you're trying to stand on ice, because we got rain, and then it snowed, and then it rained again, and then we got sleet and freezing rain, and so it is a nice, I was ready to go out and play some hockey, to be completely honest. It was awful, awful stuff. But things did actually get a little bit better. Yesterday was like 50 degrees here, and today we got rain, and it has dipped back below freezing. So those tee pads are probably unplayable again. So out in the wintertime, especially now that I am a father, it is not something I get to do as often as I used to, as much as I'd like to, especially because, babies are hard to take around like that. But on the positive note, I will have, a future world champion here. She's already loving her buzz at 5 months old. And, well, by loving it, I mean she's trying to chew on it and eat it, so she's got that going for her, which is nice. I did get a chance to put up my awesome Lucid X Chameleon Kona Panis Tour Series Justice with just about every single person who works at Dynamic Discs in their warehouse at their main Emporia location, the warehouse store and all that, to sign the disc. It was awesome. I hugely appreciate it. I can't recall if this came in time for the last podcast or not, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. If I did talk about it then, sorry. Moving on to the next thing. Just trying to figure out what's going on here. I'm excited, super, super stoked for Las Vegas Challenge. That is coming up real soon. We got to wet our whistle just a little bit, just a scotch, on the DGPT All-Star Weekend. If you want to know all of my thoughts, the good, the bad, the ugly, the improvements that I think could be made, you can go to joesdiscgolf.com, and it is one of the most recent articles that's up there right now. It is the DGPT All-Star Recap. I also have another article up there that if you are so inclined to read, it is all about my thoughts and the news on Latitude 64 and Kastaplast and how that is all going down there. Lots and lots of excitement there. And apparently my phone is just blowing up, so I need to try not to let the vibration get picked up by the microphone and basically just annoy the crap out of all of you. That is not my goal. My goal is to deliver an entertaining podcast all about disc golf and all about the fun stuff. Just want to plug all the socials, joesdiscgolf.com, Joe's Disc Golf, at Joe's Disc Golf on Twitter, at Joe's Disc Golf on Instagram, Joe's Disc Golf Facebook page, that's / Joe's Disc Golf. Not only that, but we've got merch. That's my horns. I don't have horn sound effects. that's because you haven't bought enough merch because I can't afford them. No, that's not it at all. I actually don't know how to get those sound effects to work in OBS. I'm sure there are tutorial links out there somewhere, but at this point, my choices are I have to pick out of these. I can't do everything. I can work on the website. I can work on my podcast. I can play with my daughter. I can go to work, and I could figure out how to do things with OBS. That's 5 different things there, and I could really only pick 4. So, sorry, OBS. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, everybody out there. But yes, anyway, we have merch through, obviously, if you go to joesdiscgolf.com, you could go over to the page labeled merch, and you can order stuff. It is through Printful. Actually, it's through, long story short, it's through WooCommerce, through Printful. WooCommerce basically processes your credit card, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, however you get money to me digitally. I don't think they accept crypto. Who knows? I don't know. But we've got a couple things up there right now. We also have other ways to support Joe's Disc Golf if you are so inclined. I appreciate all of you guys just listening and watching, and this is just to help keep the website up, and that's it. I got asked a couple times, like, what are my goals with the merch here, and it is really just to keep the lights on, pay for the website. That's it. The stuff is really high quality. We have embroidered polo shirts with a script that looks similar to the Joe's Disc Golf on this polo shirt. This is not even silkscreen. This is Cricut. If any of you guys out there are artsy or craftsy, or artsy and craftsy, a Cricut is this, basically, you can put like a razor blade in there and put this iron-on stuff, and it cuts it out, and it's really good. That's what I made all my polo shirts with. Enunciation is key. So we do have some embroidered polo shirts, which are pretty solid quality there. We have 2 different styles of hoodies. Regular hoodie that's, comes in white, black, gray, navy, basically any color. It has Joe's Disc Golf right across the front. On the back, it's got the big old Joe's Disc Golf logo with me throwing, and says thank you, Treesus, or thanks, Treesus. There is the fleece hoodie, which is more of an indoor thing, really super comfy, and that has embroidered Joe's Disc Golf. Got t-shirts with Joe's Disc Golf on the front. We got coffee cups with Joe's Disc Golf on it, so if you want a coffee cup with that. We also have a thanks Treesus coffee mug, so lots and lots of fun stuff there. Prices obviously vary. Shipping all depends on where you live, because I don't know where you live. That's about all I got to say there. I was actually really inspired by someone who had made a comment, actually messaged me after my video on shoulder exercises, and said that this individual said that they would like to help support me and help me get going. And so that really was the kick in the pants I needed to get this merch. It is high quality stuff. It took me a while to find someone that I could trust. I did a lot of research on this. And when I say it was the kick in the pants, it was basically the motivation I needed to actually do it. I had gotten, looked at all this different stuff everywhere else. This is kind of a behind the curtains look at Joe's Disc Golf here, looking at different places, various quality, looking at other YouTubers, and believe it or not, there are YouTube channels devoted to reviewing the merch stuff that everybody does, because you have varying levels of quality. Apparently, Amazon's, depending on what you do, is hit or miss. Teespring is what I used to hear about all the time. Apparently, it's not what it used to be. And so I ended up going with this company, Printful, and there are a whole bunch of other things that I can do. The company I actually really wanted to go to, that I thought had the highest quality of merch, had some requirements that I didn't meet. Now, these are not anything crazy. It's not like, they looked at my, browser history and found some naughty things or anything like that. They have a requirement that your channel have at least 100,000 subscribers. And I don't know if any of you have looked at the subscriber count on my YouTube channel, but I am only just a little bit short by 99,420 nice subscribers. So if you guys want to jump on that, that would be super handy, because then you get things like pins and patches and not just sweet t-shirts and coffee mugs. I had looked at water bottles, but the water bottles that were offered are terrible. They're super cheap. They're not insulated. And if it's something, I'm not the kind of person that will get something just to have something out there. I will wear or use, I don't need any, let me preface this. The coffee cups are great, but I need another coffee cup like I need a hole in the head. I have so many coffee cups here. It seems like every other day at work, they're like, oh, hey, here's a free coffee cup. And I'm like, I don't need another one. And my cupboards are overflowing. So that's probably the one thing I wouldn't use, just because I have so many and I have nowhere to store them. And but the t-shirts, the sweatshirts, all that stuff, I would wear. Looking at getting different apparel if there's other things that you guys are wanting. There are bro tanks. There are ladies tanks. There's leggings. Gentlemen, ladies, you could wear leggings. They have an option for sports bras, because why not get a Joe's Disc Golf sports bra? I don't know. It's just one of those things that they offered, stationary stuff like that. But that's enough of that behind the scenes stuff. You just want to get there. So it's joesdiscgolf.com/merch. Will get you to the page, actually /shop will get you to the page, /merch will get you to an area where you can do the checkout. There's a link to the cart. There is a link to support Joe's Disc Golf. If you just want to give a monetary contribution, just say, like, here's $1, thanks. And that is actually through anchor.fm/Joe's Disc Golf /support. This is not something, I'm not asking anybody to do this. If you want to, great. If not, I've been doing fine so far without it. I do have plans that it would make things a little easier in terms of, I'm trying to get out. I've applied for, and hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully we'll get a media pass to D-Glow. Unfortunately, a lot of top pros probably won't be there, because it is right after the European Open, and I think a lot of people are staying out that way for a little bit, but it'll still be exciting. Plan to do player interviews, round recaps, all that fun jazz, kind of dip my toes into that stuff. None of it will be live, but it'll be up the day after, provided I get the media pass. I want to make sure that I get that. I do not have the media pass, but again, here's hoping. The plans with that are to get up some articles with D-Glow, do interviews the day before, during the tournament, get some highlights from the tournament, do all that fun stuff. Just kind of dip my toes into that. Not necessarily post-produced. Think of it more like, an ESPN type show, rather than doing what Joe Mez does or something like that. So those are kind of the plans going forward here. Again, high-quality merch, high-quality podcasting right here. Going off on a whole bunch of different tangents here, talking for 10 minutes already? Wow, 15 minutes. Wow, time flies when you are just kind of rambling there. Enough of that, because you guys are probably bored, and if you're still listening 15 minutes in, thank you so much. Any which who, I will just, I'm just trying to give a peek into how Joe's Disc Golf is going. I like to be as transparent as possible, so if you have any questions, feel free to email me, joe@joesdiscgolf.com, and I will try to answer it if it's appropriate, obviously. If not, whatever. You can tweet at me, Instagram, whatever. Moving on to the first topic. It is the DGPT All-Star Weekend, which overall was, if I had to grade this I would give it a B minus. It had its moments where it was entertaining. Obviously, there are certain things that you cannot predict. The MPO All-Star event going down to the wire, Eagle banging like 100-foot obstructed putt, and then Calvin, Domo Origato, Mr. Robato, banging a 28-footer uphill with OB right behind like it's nothing. I would kill to just bang a 28-footer like it was nothing. Period. Flat ground, wide open, dead calm. That's what I wish. So that was exciting. Came down to the wire. Team Calvin won 7-6. Team Allen beat Team Pierce 7-6. I think it was 7-6. Or maybe it was 8-5. It was 7-6. That was also pretty exciting to watch there. Who knew? That was exciting. That was fun. Doubles was fine. I mean, it was all right. The skills competition was kind of a struggle. And that wasn't just because, like, watching skills are boring. So you had three things that you had to worry about. You had distance, you had accuracy, and you had putting. I'm just going to run down through that order right there. Distance was pretty exciting. It was hard to tell what inbounds and out of bounds was. So they were throwing down the fairway of one of the holes, and the assumption was, the way it looked was that if it stayed on the green grass, you were golden. Everything was good. You had OB on the right-hand side where there were a bunch of trees. There's a fence. Like, you throw over the fence, you're OB. Like, that's pretty straightforward. The left side, there was a cart path that maybe was OB. I don't know, because, like, one disc kind of stopped there, but then the guy measured it. So I don't really know. It was a tighter fairway than I thought it would have been. I didn't want them to go out to big old giant field and just start ripping them, but I think that they should have widened it out just a little bit. So it was a distance with accuracy, and I mean, these guys and gals are still ripping them out there. Paige throwing like 440, Garrett Gerthy and Calvin Heimberg throwing like 620, 630, something like that. Absolutely bonkers and so much fun to watch. Some of the issues that I had with that was the camera work, and that there were a couple times, specifically with the women, where the camera, would start on them doing their run up, doing all that, doing their throw, but then they didn't switch off of them. Like, there's no catch cam. So you were watching Paige watch her disc, or watching Katrina watch her disc, or Kona, or whoever else. Men's, women's, doesn't matter. Just watching them watch their disc. And it didn't happen a lot, but it happened often enough where it was like, guys, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? They had a drone overhead, which was kind of cool at the same time, like, to kind of give you an idea of, like, how far this is. Like, obviously you're going, over 400 feet. Wow, that's crazy. Over 600 feet. That's insane. They had the drone. It had some nice shots, nice establishing shots. Sometimes they just left it up during the whole throw. And unfortunately, it was really hard to see the disc. So if they're going to do something like that, they have to put a tracker on it, a Jomez follow flight type deal. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It was kind of rough. In between the first, after I think it was after Paige and Katrina went to throw, Kona's getting ready to throw, and then their field reporter just comes up and tries to start interviewing him. And it just totally ruined the flow. It was rough. Like, I don't understand why it had to be that rough. I also don't understand why there are these awkward gaps, and the commentary wasn't on site, so it was really hard to get a sense of everything. It didn't flow. It didn't, like, the skills competition was rough. And one of the things, I wish I could say I came up with this idea, but I think it was the upshot they talked about, like, have the girls do the distance, then have the boys do the distance while the girls are walking to accuracy, then have them do accuracy and the boys will walk over, then have them do accuracy while they're going to putting, and then have them do putting while the boys are going there. And then That way, there's always something happening. There's always something going. It's exciting. There's not these weird, awkward pauses. If you want, you can interview, Paige as she walks from accuracy to putting, or, Heimberg as he's going from driving to accuracy, or whatever. So that was kind of frustrating. It felt, as I said in a text to the Half in the Bag crew, as I said on Half in the Bag, as I believe I said in the article, everything felt last minute, rushed, and slapped together. And I'm sure they were prepping this for a lot longer than that, but that's the feeling that came across. That's what it seemed like, where you're just like, the camera work was rough. Not knowing the distances for accuracy. Like, I had a hard time trying to follow accuracy because I didn't know how far it was. So they had, everybody had 3 throws at 5 different mandatories that you had to do. And everybody did all the same stuff in the same order. So that was fine. But they were throwing from the same spot to a group of trees. They had 2 pine trees. And then between it, they had ratchet straps. So they had one that was probably, 10 feet off the ground between the 2 trees. Then they had one that was probably 2 or 3 feet off the ground between the 2 trees. And then they had, between the 2, going vertical, a box that was maybe a 10 by 10 box. I don't know. That's going to be my guess, because there were no distances, no markers, no indication of anything. And so with that, like the accuracy, I kind of like that. But with it, you didn't know how far it was from where they were throwing to the trees. And then they were trying to throw to a basket. And that basket, if you got an ace, it was 5 points. Bullseye, which was within 10 feet, I think was 3 points. Circle 1 was 2 points, and circle 2 was 1 point. That part I knew because nobody got closer than that, really. But you didn't know how far it was to the basket. It looked like, I tried to guess as to which hole it was. It looked like it was probably about 300 feet, 280 to 300, and the trees, the mandatories, were about 150-ish. So what they had to do is stand there, and they had to throw left around a mando. They had to throw right around the mando, the trees, and then they had to go above the ratchet strap, up between the trees, below the ratchet strap, again between the trees, and then a straight shot through the square. And the ones that were going below the ratchet strap, the bottom one, was kind of hard to follow, kind of hard to tell. The guy who was running the camera, the catch cam, would stay zoomed in far too much, where he would follow it and it would zoomed in because, he's, let's say, 300 feet away. And like any catch cam, you got to be zoomed in and you pull it back. Well, he kind of pulled it back, but not quite enough, and would just watch the disc hit the ground. And, they're going, oh, that's circle 2. And I'm like, how do you know? The commentators were like, oh, that's circle 2. I'm like, how do you know? The guy's not zoomed in close enough. I couldn't tell anything with that. So that was another point of frustration. Like, watching everybody do their shot shaping was really exciting. And everybody did a really good job, except Rebecca Cox struggled a little bit because she doesn't have a forehand at all. And so she tried to throw turnover shots at altitude into a headwind. And it didn't go well. Other than that, she crushed it. Like, she did really, really well. One thing I was surprised was on the women's side, no one threw a forehand spike hyzer, which I thought was a perfect opportunity. Not even Sarah Hokum, who also did really well. Being a forehand specialist for accuracy at those distances was pretty handy. And then putting was actually pretty exciting. You had all the different competitors out there, including wild cards, which, getting off on the wild cards, why? That just detracted from everything. That was, if you wanted to have more people in the All-Star event, open it up to more people. You make the rules. You make the rules. You could have said, hey, we want 12. We don't want 8. We want 12. Cool. Great. Awesome. I don't know. All of a sudden, last minute, you got people showing up. You got Garrett Gerthy and Paul Ulibarri, and then you had, Holly Finley, and blanking on the other female competitor. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like the reason Holly Finley stands out to me is because she made a comment that she got in like 2 or 3 hours before the putting competition, which lends more credence to my thought that it was thrown together last minute. And this, especially this wild card thing, was thrown together last minute because you think Holly Finley would want to drive or fly across country and show up to the All-Star event a few hours before it started. She wasn't at the draft. She wasn't there. So, and that's, I'll get back to the draft after I finish doing the whole weekend here. So with the putting, that was pretty straightforward. You had some elevated 20-foot putts, 25 feet to flat, and then an elevated basket. You had obstructed views. You had circle's edge, clear and obstructed, 45-footers, and then one shot from circle to edge. And that was actually really exciting. Own crushed it. Absolutely amazing. Again, like I said, doubles, singles, yeah, it was exciting. One thing that I really liked actually about the singles was it didn't matter what everybody else was doing because you were only going head-to-head against the person on your card. So it was Calvin versus Eagle. It was Paige versus Katrina, and that was just really exciting. What was not exciting was trying to follow this on, well, they didn't have UDisc Live. You don't have UDisc Live. I don't think they're doing anything with UDisc Live because I think with this contract that they signed with the PDGA, it's all PDGA Live, and it sucked. There was no way to really look at how things, like they just had total scores. So unless you had time to look through and go, oh yeah, or if you remembered like, oh yeah, it's Calvin versus Eagle. Otherwise they had everybody score it like, oh, there's 12 down, there's 10 down, there's 9 down. It's like, well, that's fine, but it doesn't matter if, Paige shoots better than Kona because Paige is playing against Katrina and Kona is playing against somebody else. I don't remember. Own, maybe? Sounds about right. But either way, so it was stuff like that where it was like, okay, so this is really hard to follow along. This is really inconvenient. Is that what it's going to be going forward here? Is UDisc not going to be a part of the Disc Golf Pro Tour? Because if it's not, that is a crying shame because while PDGA Live has made huge improvements over the last couple years, it's no UDisc. I mean, that's like you couldn't follow it. You couldn't tell if someone was in the fairway, if they were putting from circle 2, if they were putting, period. They just had the scores up there. So it was a very cut down, crappy version of UDisc. Like it just, I don't know what happened. I'm wondering if as part of the contract that to get the majors and to get control of the national tour, that they're like, well, you got to use PDGA Live. Now, as the guys on Foundation have said, there's nothing stopping UDisc from just sending a couple people out there and running it anyway. Can't stop them from standing in the gallery and doing it. That's kind of where I'm at. It would be better than what we get with PDGA Live. So, bringing it back off the tangent here, the draft. Oh, was that painful? Oh, watching the MPO. Oh, that was bad. Kelvin had made a joke, thought it was a joke, turns out it was true, about auto drafting. And basically him and Eagle just picked whoever was the best. Kelvin, asked the guys he picked, like, what do you want to do? And that was about it. So the guys on his team really got to pick whether they did accuracy, putting, or distance. And it was, with as lively as Eagle is on his YouTube channel, on his Instagram, on everything he was really subdued and pretty boring. Calvin, I love his dry, dark humor, but it doesn't translate well on camera, so that was about what I expected. On the women's side, that was a little more entertaining. You had Paige and Katrina getting into it a little bit, not necessarily trash talking, but like, oh, you picked who I was going to take and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And just having a little more fun with it. The field reporter out there, just felt completely awkward and unnecessary. His question to Paige really sums up how unnecessary it was. And that was, do you think you're going to win? And her response back was like, what do you think I'm going to say? I'm going to lose? Like, yeah, everybody's going to say, you ask me if I'm going to win. I'm going to go, hell yeah, I'm going to try to win. I'm going to do everything. No, I plan on losing. I plan on being the 1919 Black Sox, throwing the World Series. I think it was 1919. Anyway, too. But yeah, who's throwing a game like that? Like, I know it's the All-Star event and you might not get the best out of everybody, but who's going to intentionally do bad? Like, that's just a stupid question. And that's kind of where we were. Like, I thought, like, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, with as much talk as they had over the winter, over the break, about we got this new equipment, we got this great plan, we got this, we hired all these people, we doing this and this and this and this. And then, it was the All-Star event. And I guess you could say it was a warm-up. I'm going to try to reserve some judgment for Las Vegas. But, man, they need a lot of help to turn this crap around. My thought was that for the draft, if you have an MC, somebody, just, hamming it up a little bit. I'm not talking about going crazy. I'm not saying they have to be some kind of soccer announcer, getting all absolutely bonkers, wild off the wall, like basically doing cocaine and just like, I'm going to run around and do that. Just like, hey, all right, first up, we have Eagle McMahon, and he has got the first round of the pick. He's got the first pick here, and who is he going to take? It's exciting. He's got a lot of spots to fill. Who is he going to take? Oh, he took Derek Earthy. I don't know. I'm just pulling names out of my butt here. I don't remember who is on what team. I've really forgotten a lot about the stuff. It was kind of a forgettable event, to be completely honest. Everybody got $1,000 for showing up, and then the winning team got $500 each. So there's that. So you got at least $1,000. You got to hang out at the resort for free. So that's not bad for the pros. Just frustrating for us to watch here. But what's frustrating some people is the news that came out today, the day of recording, February 17th, 2022. Latitude 64 buys a stake in Kastaplast. And they will start producing their discs. Yes. Posted on Facebook originally. They have a whole long post there. So I'll just give you some of the highlights. Since the official start in 2013, Kastaplast has been the typical small-size company run by its owners. During this time, we've seen the brand become stronger for each year, much thanks to the support from the Kasta community worldwide. With the ever-growing demand for K-Mark discs, Kastaplast is now at a stage of upscaling, and we feel great about the opportunity to partner up with Kastaplast to enable to continue the growth and development. That was Latitude 64 talking about that part. The rest of that was from them. I think it's exciting. Kastaplast, I had not heard of them up until about 18 months ago, give or take, when I ran across someone throwing the Berg, and I was like, what's that? And it's a very low-glide, straight putter that I don't have a need for. It doesn't really suit my game as well as, I'm pretty set in my ways, basically, is what I'm saying. But it's still a great disc. I can't deny that it's a very popular, a very handy disc for a lot of people. So a couple questions that have been going around. Will Trilogy players throw Kastaplast at all? I don't know. That wasn't really addressed here. But who knows? You never know. Maybe, maybe not. So they won't be Trilogy anymore. There'll be a quartet or quadrilogy. There were some questions about Kastaplast changing their plastic type and messing with the formula. A lot of people like the feel of the disc of how it is right now. And, well, that's not going to change. People were citing some issues like Discmania has their plastic feels different than what it used to be. But the thing is, Discmania did not have the rights to their formula for that plastic. Innova did. So Latitude 64 got some chemical engineers, and they got something really, really close. But without having that exact formula, you can't make an exact duplicate. And so that's one thing there. Kastaplast still has everything. They're just having Latitude help them manufacture more discs, which is I think that's a good thing. More Kastaplast out there, the better. The thing with, Discmania, they didn't have the rights to a lot of stuff when they split from Innova. So that's kind of the major difference here between Kastaplast and Discmania. It's exciting to see them grow. Latitude 64 is now producing discs for themselves, dynamic discs, Discmania, and Westside Discs, and now Kastaplast. So they're making a lot of stuff, and I guess they got to put those new machines to some good use. I think it's going to be a good thing. I think this is going to allow for more people to get to experience Kastaplast, and not just the Berg, but their line of discs in general. Obviously, the Berg is the most popular and the most well-known, but they have a lot of other discs out there, generally overstable. So, suits my game. Kastaplast, if you're listening, yo. If you want an average amateur right here, that ain't happening. Oh, boy. Yeah, that ain't happening. Not really. Not likely. But you never know. You never know. I'm a handsome, good-looking guy. I got a face for radio and a voice for silent movies. Hey, it is what it is. Last, but certainly not least, our topic that we're talking about here, the PDGA U.S. Tour Rankings. This is based on a bunch of different things. Elite Series finishes, the Majors finishes, and just other ratings-based stuff. They have a whole article explaining it, kind of convoluted, to be completely honest. But we'll go through the top 10 FPO and MPO players, and we'll see if I totally agree with them or not. Starting out with the MPO, the Mixed Pro Open. At 10, we have Kevin Jones. I'd say that's about right. He didn't have a great year last year. He bounced around a lot, kind of sitting in that 7 spot. We have Matty O sitting in 9th. I'd say that's about right. Calvin Heimberg sitting 8th. Little bit low, in my opinion, there. But this is objective-based, allegedly, and some of these guys skipped some national tour stuff, so this is based off of some of that. We'll see how it goes this year. Adam Ham's taking the 7 spot. James Conrad 6. He's a bit higher than I would have thought, but he does have that Worlds win right there, which is going to boost that number. Kyle Klein is the top 5 right there. Chris Dickerson at number 4. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Eagle McMahon, 3. Solid. Number 2 is Paul Macbeth. Number 1 is Ezra. No, I'm kidding. Ezra's a great guy, but number 1, no surprise here, Ricky Wysocki. Honestly, with the way that the things have finished out last year, 1, 2, 3, you flip a coin. Technically, by the stats that they're using here, Ricky Wysocki had a 2.14 average finish. Paul Macbeth had a 2.43, and Eagle had a 4. A solid 4. So, yeah, pretty rough there. I mean, not really. I'd kill to average 4th place at a Pro Tour event. I mean, that would be just absolutely exciting. On the FPO side here, we have Owen Scoggins holding down the 10 spot. Kona Panis holding down the 9 spot. That's about where I think she belongs to, both of them. Owen doesn't have the best distance game, and Kona doesn't have the best putting game. But, man, if you put those two together for doubles, pretty solid. Lisa Fakis is sitting there in 8th place, and I'd say that's about right. Jessica Weiss in 7th. Sarah Hokum is 6th. Kristen Tatar, this one actually surprised me. For the few events that she was over here for, she managed to hold down the 5 spot, averaging a 7.86. I think they might be counting majors or Elite Series over in Europe. I'm not 100% sure there. Missy Gannon takes down the 4 spot. Haley King at 3. Katrina Allen at 2. And Paige Pierce by a mile, by half of the average finish. Katrina averaged 2.29. Paige Pierce 1.14. So basically, if you put money down on Paige to win, you're probably hitting cash there. They have the whole list there. They have the formula, all that, their wins, their top 10s, their top 5s, all that, all the points breakdown and how they all do that there. But that is about it. I'd say that does it for this podcast. You can always go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Joe's Disc Golf. Visit joesdiscgolf.com and Joe's Disc Golf Store, JDG Store. No, I don't have that website yet. Joe's Disc Golf Store through joesdiscgolf.com/merch. You can check out there. Looking at adding a few more things. So, it could be good. Looking for some summer stuff. Now, I do want to mention that this stuff takes about a week to 2 weeks to get to you. This is print on demand. It takes a couple days for things to get printed, and then it ships out. And obviously, depending on where you live, shipping, could take a while. And depending on where it's manufactured, I know some of the shirts I got ordered, they were coming from Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's not too bad. But, some stuff could be made in Seattle or California. And that would take a while if you're in New York or Maine or something. Maybe you live in Alaska or Hawaii. That'd take a really long time to get there. But patience is key. There are estimated shipping dates. They do give you some time. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm here to help, here to do things. But other than that, that's about all I have there. Don't forget to check out joesdiscgolf.com. We got some articles going up all the time. Leaving comments. I think I've got some of the spam under control. Fortunately, the settings I've had on the website, you guys haven't seen the spam, but you would not believe some of the spam comments that I've gotten. The best spam comments are the ones about CBD. The worst spam comments are about things I would rather not repeat because I don't need my YouTube taken off, or my channel taken off of YouTube. If that gives you any idea, well, no, that is the essence there. That is a chaos that is coming through. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to thank Treesus next time you get a great tree kick. And if you get a less than favorable kick, then you need to reflect and repent because you have transgressed against Treesus. Thank you all for watching. I've been Joe. You've been awesome. And I can't wait to see you all and talk to you all in the next video and podcast. Everybody have a great weekend.